There's a very specific kind of frustration that comes from knowing exactly what you want to do and still not doing it. Not because you're lazy, not because you don't care, but because you're overthinking it, waiting to feel quote unquote ready, or quietly avoiding the one thing that would actually move things forward. So I made something for that. My spring reset, Get Out of Your Own Damn Way workshop is a 60-minute, no bullshit reset designed to help you actually do something with all of that awareness you already have. Now, this isn't about becoming a new person. It's about clearing a path for what's already trying to emerge. This is for you if you've been about to start something for, I don't know, longer than feels cute and you can't get to it. If you're ready to stop circling and actually move, come join me. Because honestly, you're probably not stuck. You're just in your own way. We'll cover your personal self-sabotage style because yes, you have one. Why motivation isn't the problem. The identity you've probably outgrown but are still clinging to, and a simple way to release patterns that aren't working anymore. You'll leave with one small, doable action that creates actual momentum. It's happening April 30th at 6:30 p.m. It's live. There are guided exercises, a replay if you can't make it, and it's $29. To sign up, go to juliagwellness.com. That's juliagwellness.com. I will, of course, leave this information in the show notes. Are you haunted by the thoughts that show up at 3 a.m.? Good. This is where we follow them, where science meets ritual, humor meets reckoning, and aging and identity are viewed as evolution. And where we ask the only question that matters. How do we craft a life that can hold what emerges? Candles optional, curiosity required. Ghosts welcome. I'm your host, Julia Granacki, and this is Agecraft After Dark. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, theys and thems, to the show. I have been spending a lot of time at night thinking about getting older. And I know that's, part of the theme of the show, but I should be more specific. Less about getting older and more about who will take care of me when I'm old. Which honestly is not a question I remember hearing much about when I was younger, or maybe I did, and I just assumed there would be like a system or like a plan, like a vague, invisible safety net that would somehow catch me. But given there's very little infrastructure in this country when it comes to supporting people, families, and so forth, I think that it should be no surprise that there really isn't anything in place. And as I get older, I'm starting to realize that this is really something I have to start bringing my attention to, and kind of think about. And I should add that my husband and I are child-free by choice. Now, we love our life, we love our freedom, we love our sleep, not saving for college. All of that is amazing. But I think that the idea or the question of who will take care of me lands a bit differently when you are a child-free person, because there's this cultural narrative that says, that your kids are going to take care of you when you get older. And I don't know who needs to hear this, but that is not a retirement plan. That is a very hopeful suggestion at best, because let's be honest, there are no guarantees. Not everyone has that, relationship. Not everyone lives nearby. Not everyone is able or willing to step into that role. And so really all of us, whether you have kids or not, have to consider this. And when you really get to the root of it, it's not necessarily who will take care of me when I'm old, but will I be alone? And every time I start to drift too far down that path, I keep coming back to the same thing. And that is community. Chosen family, people we gather around us, not because we're supposed to, not because we share DNA, but because we see each other, because we show up for each other, because we decide again and again, you matter to me, I choose you. And that kind of care, it's built over time in conversations, in small gestures, in being willing to witness each other through all the weird, liminal, in between versions of ourselves, through tragedy and grief and celebration. And, it's not something that you want to suddenly be thinking about at the age of 80. It's something you need to start practicing now. And I think that this culture is very good at emphasizing romantic relationships, but not emphasizing other relationships, which are equally important, if not more so in many ways. And that brings me to today's guest. Because when I think of the people in my life who feel like anchors, who feel like part of that future I'm quietly building, this person is one of them. And I know this got very serious, and we are going to have some laughs today, I promise. And in fact, before we get into the interview, let's see if someone's come in through the speaker box.
Knock, knock, anybody home?
What?
It's Mother Witch.
This is Mandy Holmes. And one thing I never expected about getting older or when I got older is that I would embrace linen. As a perpetual goth kid, I never thought that linen would be a thing that I now require as part of my soft pants collection. So I'm very shocked by that and really loving how comfortable linen pants are.
Hello, Mandy. Thank you so much for calling into the show. So, this is how it happens. One day you're a perpetual goth kid, and the next day you're like, but is it breathable? Linen is like the gateway fabric to aging with dignity and adulting commitment to comfort, is what I would say, right? It's giving soft pants, but strong boundaries, and I respect that deeply. As I've gotten older, things that bring me comfort have gone from like, that would be nice to have, to being a fully non negotiable thing. Like, I will absolutely spend extra money on bamboo sheets without a second thought. In fact, Quince, which they don't sponsor this podcast, I wish they did. Maybe they will in the future. That would be great. They make the most amazing bamboo sheets. We have like 3 sets, and I did not even blink twice at the price tag when I got them. Do I care that this is who I've become? I do not. I care that when I roll like a sleepless alligator at night, it's on the softest, breathable sheets. So, Mandy, the point of what I'm trying to say is I fully support your linen era. This is not a betrayal of your goth identity. It's an upgrade. Soft goth, breathable goth, but still goth nonetheless. Now, dear listener, if you would like to leave me a message through the speaker box, you can do that by going to SpeakPipe and, share an observation about getting older, identity shifts, health. Maybe you have a question for me, whatever strange realization has been keeping you up at night. That's what I'm here for. That's what I want to hear. Keep it short, and your message may be played here on the show. You can leave your recording at speakpipe.com/agecraft. That's speakpipe.com/agecraft. Today's guest is Jason Moyer. They have been many iterations, including actor, writer, producer, and the list goes on. And they admit that they wrap their identity in those jobs. But for now, they're just a happily married person enjoying life as best they can. You can currently find them writing poetry in their notes app on their phone, sweating happily on a dance floor, or laughing wildly at a Golden Girls rerun. Hi, Jason.
Hi, Julia.
So good to see your face.
It's good to see your face. Your hair looks amazing.
Oh, thank you. I have to say, the Dyson hair wrap has changed my life.
Dyson makes good products.
They do. It's a little bit like of a learning curve, but once you figure it out, it works really well. It works really well. All right. Well, before we spin off onto that tangent, I'm going to have you introduce yourself by saying your name, your age, your pronouns, in whatever order, and then what's been keeping you up at night.
Okay. My name is Jason Moyer, and I'm already telling people that I'm 50. I'll be 50 in 2 months, but it's just easier than saying, "Oh, I'm 49, but I'll be 50 in 2 months." So I'm 50, and I am non-binary. I use all pronouns. So whatever you want to call me is fine. Typically, out in the world, because I am mass presenting, I get a lot of he, him, sir, which is great. I don't care. My all of my gay friends use she just because we're gay like that, but I'm open to it all. There is
I
like
yeah.
a place of privilege for that, and I do like to acknowledge that. So, um, yes, there we are.
Yes to all of that.
And what
What's been keeping you up at night? I forgot my own question.
I was thinking about this question. So, not to make women of a certain age feel bad, but I'm actually having the best sleep of my life. So, uh,
Okay.
there is nothing that's really keeping me up at night, but put aside America, I'm going to put aside
America.
Middle Eastern wars, I'm going to put aside genocide, because all of those things are just this constant background stress, and I think everyone is feeling it. So, putting all of those things aside, the thing that's keeping me up at night is actually super positive. I've been going through in the last few weeks. You know how everyone talks about their midlife crisis?
Yeah.
I think that we have to get out at some point of our midlife crisis, and I'm
Yeah.
kind of like in a midlife revelation.
Yeah.
Um, so I've been coming back to like who I was before and who I want to be in the future, and spending times with the things that I really enjoy, and just rediscovering who I am now and picking all the parts that I liked and bringing them with me.
I love this for you. And I would add that I'm glad that you're having this experience because it's very similar to the experience I had when I turned 50, which was very different from the experience that I had when I turned 40, which was a total breakdown, meltable, like melt face, existential crisis. This was like completely different and so positive and very similar to your experience. And so I say huzzah to that.
Huzzah. Yeah, it's been really great.
I would also say that it's really been on my mind lately, this idea of thinking about who we were when we were born. What are these things that we have taken through our life, like this accumulation of our life into who we are? Are we really ever arriving at a particular place? I'm not sure that we are. I don't feel like I am. I feel like I'm constantly searching, but I feel like every year, I feel like I'm getting closer to who I am. And I feel in
Yes,
this moment that I am the most me that I've ever been in my whole life.
that's an amazing place to be.
Yeah, I
I
like
don't
it.
know that I'm there yet, but like I actually really like who I am right now and am focusing my attention on loving that person more and trying to just be happy with myself.
I mean, I've always liked who you are, so I'm here for the ride, no matter what. Um,
Thank you.
you're welcome. And I also want to add that I too am having the best sleep of my life.
Oh, well, I'm glad to hear that because I know for a while it wasn't the case.
It was not, I know, 50 also brought better sleep.
I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you know me, and you've known me for 30 odd years, and we've lived together, and you know how I love to sleep.
Yes, like it's a
And
hobby.
and I'm good at it
You
once
are.
I fall asleep. Now, um, for years, falling asleep was the problem, is I could not fall asleep. And now that I've been going down this journey about figuring out my own neurodivergence, and I realized that that's a problem for a lot of neurodivergent people. And I would start ruminating while I was asleep or trying to fall asleep, and then that would turn into anxiety, and that would turn into a panic attack. But I'm on a good sleeping pill and it knocks me out in like 5 minutes. And so those things don't happen and I sleep well and I wake up like ready to go.
Yes to all of that. Again, I couldn't say, yeah, like for, as a woman, it could be like hormonal. I'm not taking like a sleeping pill, but I'm taking hormones and that's like helping. Um,
I would imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm really happy about that. And every time it's good, I think, well, will it last? I don't know. Hopefully, hopefully. Where are you right now in the liminal space of aging and identity? And by that I mean, like, do you feel like anything's ending or beginning or emerging? I mean, very much to what we were. It's very connected to what we've been talking about already.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Coming on what I would consider like a landmark birthday. The big zeros are they weigh on you a little bit, and the positive and the negative. So
Mm,
definitely have been thinking about it a lot. Um, I also went through this experience earlier this month where I got caught up in a lot of my feelings, and it was over issues that I thought I had already resolved. And so part of that was, damn it, I didn't resolve it the way that I needed to. And I love that the universe is like, here, you think you got it down, but you really didn't. So let me show you how you didn't get it down. Um, but there was a night that I was really in my feelings, and I was sitting on my couch. There was a little crying happening, and I was just reading some of my old poetry, and
mm,
especially some of the poetry that I used to like perform, so that I used to speak out loud. And I started just reading it aloud to myself. There was no one else in the house. And by like the third poem that I got through, like literally I felt like something like crack open. And
yeah.
it was like me coming out and going, where have you been and what have you been doing? And all of this energy that you've been putting into these different things, it's just your creative energy that you haven't been using, and you need to use your creative energy again.
Mm, hmm.
So literally, like the second that that happened, I stopped crying. I stood up. I turned on some music. I cleaned the house. It was like if you could like flip a switch and change someone, it happened that quickly. Um, and that's where I am in the liminal space, just enjoying who that person is.
I feel like you had like a nervous system reset in that moment. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it
Yeah.
was a nervous system reset, and it was also a mindset shift.
Yeah.
Um, so that was important. There was like I was looking at it from a new vantage point where I was like, oh, um, that's a new perspective. I haven't looked at myself that way, like uh, and analytically. Who is it?
Or like it's been a minute.
Yeah. Is it what's her name? Marianne Williamson, she's kind of a crackpot. I'll say that out loud. 16 years ago, yeah, I went to her Course in Miracles a lot of times, and it helped me at the moment. But she says that a miracle is just a shift in perception.
Yeah.
And so like I really felt like at that moment I was experiencing a miracle, which was really cool.
That's very magical. And
Yeah.
few and far between, but those moments should not be taken for granted. And I feel like you can name them whatever you want. It really doesn't matter. All that matters is that the outcome was positive and that you were able to do something with that. And you've been writing more and you've been sending me
I
your poems, and they're
have.
fucking fantastic.
Thank you. I'm really
Um,
happy with the work that I'm doing right now. Um, and that little shift that happened was really trying to reclaim my creative self, because I think we've both kind of done this. We met doing theater, getting our theater degrees, and we worked as performers and directors and writers and in creative spaces for a very long time. And we've both kind of had a shift where we're not in those creative spaces anymore. Um, so I felt like I had to reclaim my creative energy that I was
mm,
putting into so many, actually so much obsession, I think, over different things of just because that energy wanted to go somewhere. So it would like spin tales and tell stories and like
yeah.
focus on something it didn't need to focus on. So yeah, I really enjoyed the things that I'm writing right now. Inspired to like create another show that I want to do. Um, and just kind of remember the badass motherfucker that I was and the things that I could do
Still are.
and do them again. Yeah,
Still
exactly. I'm
are.
I'm back.
Nothing's
I mean,
changed.
I wasn't for a while. I really think I got lost sight of a few things for a while, but she's back.
Yeah. I definitely relate. I made a promise to myself when I turned 49 that I was going to buy a keyboard and learn how to play the piano. That
Hmm.
has yet to happen, but okay, first of all, I learned everything the hard way. Put that to the side. But I do things like when I'm ready to do the things, and I have come to a point in my life where I'm like, it will happen. It's not happening today. I will find the time. I will make it happen. But I have this feeling that when I finally do that, something I hope, I feel something magical is going to happen when that day
Yeah.
comes.
Yeah. I think it's honoring where you are. Like I'll know, like I'll talk with this whole shift, it's been like it's in every aspect of my life. Like I'm going to the gym every day, which used to be a struggle for me.
What?
I know. It's crazy. And like apart from going every day, I'm actually enjoying the process of going because I know that it's like something for me and I feel good about myself after I do it. And I think for a long time I felt like maybe I didn't deserve to feel good about who I was, so then I didn't enjoy those things.
That's so interesting to me because that is what I want for everyone, like activity. And when I say activity, I mean, the stupid thing to say would be like fitness, but I would say activity. So whatever you're doing to stay like active, whatever that looks like, it should feel good. And that's what I tell all of my clients. And I've written about this and I've talked about it on social media. I don't care if you do Pilates. I don't care if you strength train. I don't really care what in the ever loving fuck you do. Just pick a thing that you enjoy and do it consistently and let your body just feel good. And I am so thrilled that you have found a thing or like
Yeah.
reframed, figured out a way that this is feeling different in your body. And yeah, huzzah.
Yeah. It's really kind of fucking cool. I'm really enjoying it.
So we're talking about like a lot of shifts, I feel like.
Yeah.
And you and I both had major career shifts later in life
Hmm.
which I'm very proud of both of us for. So let's talk more about that. Tell me what happened, what you were doing, what you decided to do, and how that all sort of came to be.
Oh gosh, that's like a really layered story. So,
It's what we're
you
here
know, I
for. The layers.
I I tried to work for a long time in the creative entertainment industry here in Los Angeles. Primarily trying to focus on acting, but I did a lot of writing and directing and producing. Um, and for a long time, my survival job was I was the manager of a salon, um, which was great because it allowed me the opportunity to audition when I needed to audition and take days off. And, there was responsibility, but it wasn't like brain surgery responsibility. Like if
Yeah.
I wasn't there, like everything would go on. Um, and a few things happened. A friend of mine was cast on a friend that I did sketch comedy with for like 13 years. So like we like shared the same skill set. We like shared the same resources. We shared the same networking opportunities. Um, she was cast on an NBC sitcom and was there for a few years, which is like the dream job, right?
Yeah.
And then that show was canceled, and she's booked a few things since then, but then she was back to working a regular job, and I looked at that and I was like, we all hustled to get the job that you just had, and you had it, and that's amazing, and you are wonderful at it, but now you're back to doing what I'm doing. I was like, I don't want to hustle for that. I want to like have some security. I want to just like have something that I can do on my own if I need to, when I retire, if I move, have a skill that I could take with me. And so I started looking at the things that I thought I was good at and, you know, being with people and kind of like almost a calming presence in a kind of healing environment, I think I'm really good at.
I would
And
agree.
I had all of this experience in the beauty industry, and had always been interested in skincare once I started working there. And then I was like, I should just bite the bullet and go become an esthetician.
Hmm.
And so I went to school full time for 6 months, and then became an esthetician. And now I work for a dermatologist in Brentwood and do fun things.
Fun things. I just what I love about what I love about both of us, I mean, if I'm saying, is that you and I feel like when we make these decisions, we're like all in. And to the extent that you you were like all in, you were like the straight A student, you were just like excelling, you fully bought in, you
Yeah.
got it done, and like here you are. And I definitely I relate to that and I appreciate that. um you don't do things half-assed, Jason, I guess that's what I'm trying to
Yeah.
say.
No, if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it well, and I know that we share that, and that's why we've had so many creative projects together, and like I think why we're such good friends is, we want to be the best at what we're doing, and we want to learn as much as we can, and share what we can. Uh, I think that yeah, I see that in you, and it's something that I have appreciated in myself, and
It's
that
quite a
kind of
few of our friends, if I'm being honest. I feel
well,
like attracts
truly,
like, right,
exactly.
yeah.
Um, and this is like a feeling of being locked in at some point of like, this is what I'm doing. And that's where I'm at right now about like the gym. Um, just like there's no question I'm going, and this is what I'm doing right now. I'm locked into this specific thing that I want. And once we put our sights on, we're both stubborn. You're a Scorpio, I'm a Taurus. We both, once we set our sights on something, we're going to get it.
Yeah. Yes. Agreed. um
Especially I say that, especially if we can control the parameters around which we can work in.
mhm.
Like, yeah, did I want to be like a full-time working actor? Yes, but I didn't control any of those parameters.
Yes.
Like that was not up to me whatsoever. And that was kind of the part that I got sick of too. It was like,
Yeah.
I don't want to have whatever success I could have be in the hands of other people.
I also don't want to memorize things.
I was thinking about that today because I haven't been on stage since before COVID, and I was like, could I learn a script? I think I still could.
I
But
mean,
yeah,
could I? Probably. Do I want to? No. No.
yeah, it's
No, I
definitely
don't.
not a skill I've kept up on.
No, I mean, and that's like a muscle you have to like build. I feel like it's
Yes.
atrophied. I don't know if I could do it. Um, but yeah, I think the difference between the two of us is that I often have a very circuitous journey. Like
I
I'm all in, but mine's usually a little bit more, yeah, it
I
kind of
I don't know. I feel that way about myself too. Like I'll set a timeline and that timeline is never right. Like it's gonna take me longer than I think.
fair.
Um, yeah, you gotta try and fail and then try again.
Try again. Also, like, so we don't have so much control over the timeline at times. For example, as I was finishing up my Pilates certification, I tore my ACL, and
Mm,
there was nothing I could do. So everything that, the timeline completely got thrown out the window. I had to adapt and move forward in a completely different way, and everything changed, but it really was for the better. Like, it turned out really to be like the right timing for me in so many different ways. So yeah, life,
yeah, it
life,
happens.
it happens. Um, so to the conversation, about these midlife shifts and sort of later in life shifts, being non-binary, you came out as non-binary like later in life, and I feel like I see a lot of that within Gen X because we're a little fucked up. We come to things a little bit slower, to things.
Yeah.
I think that's got something to do with it. But I was definitely, I wouldn't say I was surprised when you told me, but I was like, okay, like, tell me
Yeah,
more about that.
it's funny because I guess there was kind of a coming out about it. So let's talk about Gen X. Yeah, like we were raised by boomers, and they have no vocabulary for anything emotionally, identity wise. And that was just the culture. Like there were no words for certain things, Now we're therapized. Now we have access via social media to learn about things. And so there was a story in my family, which I found out it was not true, but on my dad's side of the family that we had Native American blood. Um, and so from I remember saying it in college. I was like, well, I'm two spirit. Like that's how I feel. I've never felt like in one place. I've always felt somewhere else. Like in a middle stage or like one side and then going back and going to the other. So I used two spirit for a while, and then when I did my DNA test, it found out there was no Native American blood in my body whatsoever.
Oops. Oops.
That was interesting. But then there were words like now, like the younger generations, there were words for what I was feeling,
Mm.
which was non-binary. Like I have never felt 100% like a man or 100% like a woman in my gender identity. Um, so I was like, oh, there's a word for how I feel. That's how I feel.
Yeah,
Um, and I don't think it was different in how I actually presented in my life whatsoever. Like I don't
I
think
would
it was
agree.
like everyone was like, oh yeah, yeah, you'll wear a dress, sure, you'll wear a dress. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
wearing makeup again, great. Like I wore makeup in my 20s, I'm wearing makeup now. It's just a thing that I did. So it was just that there was now a vocabulary to be able to talk about it,
Mm.
that made sense to me. Um,
I think
and
it's the
honestly,
naming.
it is the naming, like being able to say this is, and I think it's really important. Um, Probably even would be more important if I was younger. Um, but also, like, I do know I speak from a huge place of privilege because I can go out in the world and be assumed to be a white cis man and get all of the privilege that comes with that. So, for people claiming another identity or transitioning or any of that, it could be much more difficult for other people. So I
Mm.
haven't felt that difficulty. Um, I mean, because of who I am, being a queer person, being non-binary, um, I see it happen. And also part of my neurodivergence is this fight for justice. So like whenever like anything is wronged, I'm like, no, stop it.
Yeah.
Um, so for me, it wasn't a huge thing to just say I was non-binary. It was like, oh yeah, that's what I am. Great, perfect. Now there's a name for it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I definitely got that vibe from you, and you were very clear. You were like, I don't really care how you refer to me in terms of my pronouns. I mean, you were just like, but this is how I feel, and I was like, okay, done and
Yeah.
done. And interesting that like that, the indigenous community had a name for this for so long, and it was nothing
Yes.
really new, right?
It was part of their culture, and
Part of
those
their
people
culture. Yep.
were healers and shamans, and yeah, we could go down a long road about talking about how white
Yes.
supremacy is the evil of everything and colonialism and capitalism. But often, as I have to do, I'll just leave that in the background, knowing that like it is the root cause of all the evils in the world right now.
All of it. I just don't know why people care so much. Don't they have better things to worry about?
That's what I'm
Like, why
talking
are,
about.
like, I just like, why do people care so much?
And care about things like literally. So I was at my uncle's wedding. My uncle's only a few years older than me, and he got married when he turned 50. And so I was at his wedding, and my family's from a very small town in Indiana, very rural. A lot of them don't travel, a lot of them don't leave their little communities. So they don't have a lot of access or experience with
Exposure.
exposure to
Yeah.
people who are outside of themselves. And I was talking to one of my cousin's husbands, and he was saying something about trans people. And I was refuting it, but I was also like probing him of like, well, why do you think that way? And then I said, well, have you ever met a trans person? And he was like, no. And I was like, you've spent all of this brain energy, all of this like angst, but you don't even have any like personal stake in the game. Like it affects you in no way.
In no way.
Yeah.
Not only do you not know anyone, but it literally has nothing to do with you
Whatsoever. And
whatsoever.
it astounds me that there are so many people. I mean, we can all be guilty of it on small levels of things that we like obsess over or fixate on or stress about. But when you look like, I saw some meme the other day and it's like you are literally on a spinning rock in a universe that we don't know how is created, and you're worried about like pronouns.
Yeah. And we might even be in a hologram.
We
So,
could be, yep, in a computer simulation. Like enjoy your life and like let people enjoy their lives. I
yeah,
don't understand why there has to be so much pain. Um,
because women don't run the world. Just saying,
this is very
honestly.
true, and we'll go back to that patriarchal white supremacy idea. And like we got away from a matriarchal society, and look at what it's done to us.
That's exactly right. I agree with that.
I mean, if we could just have all female leaders for like 100 years, all problems would be solved
I really feel that way. It would undo so many awful things and then, see what happens after
completely.
that. And then maybe the aliens would be, they'd make themselves known because they'd realize that we're not a bunch of fucking idiots on this rock.
Yeah,
That's a whole,
like
I mean, that's a separate podcast, but yeah.
yeah, if they had the capability of seeing who the good people and the bad people were, like just take us, please. Take the good
Vegas,
ones.
put me in a spaceship and take me away. I mean, that's what I'm
Yeah.
waiting for these days. I feel like there's no other way out. But I'm trying to be hopeful. Hopeful is an act of defiance. Hope is an act of
Yes.
defiance, and so I'm trying. Um, Now, as an esthetician,
Uh-huh.
you work with people's faces and bodies in a
I
very
do.
intimate way. What have
Yes,
you
I do.
learned from working with trans and non-binary clients about how beauty and identity and gender or gender,
Genter.
gender intersect? I wrote these.
Um, it's very interesting because I did not expect like Brentwood is especially known for like it's where all the plastic surgeons are. It's
Oh
like
yeah.
where all the celebrities go to like get their work done. So working in a dermatologist's office in Brentwood, I didn't expect to have a lot of trans and non-binary patients, and I do. Um, and what has been in what here's what I take away from it, is of course there's the magnitude of difference in how their body actually physiologically processes any sort of hormonal transition,
Mm-hmm.
how it shows up, a second puberty, like more breakouts. So there's that physical manifestation of it. But the I've been with patients now for 3 years who like started their transition when I started working there, and like I've watched them over 3 years. And the thing that I always take away from it is like just this inherent sense of like joy and um, peace that they found where they can finally be who they are and they can start seeing a reflection of who they've always felt like they were on the inside. And it's really fucking beautiful. Um,
And it's like,
so that,
why would anyone want to take that away? Why do again back to the original point? Why do
yeah,
people fucking care so much? I don't
why do
get it.
people care? Well, I can tell you why people care, Julia. Like if
Okay.
you want
Yes. Yeah.
to,
Please. No. Yeah. I know
so
what you'll say, but say it. Say it.
okay.
Yeah.
We are built in this society, in this capitalistic colonial society that we live in, especially for straight and cis people. There is a structure of what you are supposed to do with your life to fit in. To be successful, there is from the time that we are born and they start handing us toys and they start showing us shows, there is a directive of
Mhm.
you will do this and you will find the person you love and you will get married and you will go have kids and you will go to church or whatever. Like it is very strict and limiting. And when people who are in that repression see someone else who is going, no, I am not part of that. I am over here and I am liberated because I am part of that. Like I am feeling freedom because I'm exploring who I really am and I'm not going to be tied down to who you tell me I should be. And when people who are repressed or fearful see someone who's experiencing joy or some sort of liberation, they become scared of it. And
Yeah.
they start questioning like why am I having to do this, or like what would happen if I did that? And it's all very scary. So yes, can I intellectually understand it? I can, but I also think that most of the people don't even question why.
Well, and they don't they don't really know where it's coming from. They don't understand that it's coming from a place of fear. And I would also say projection and jealousy and
Yeah. Hmm.
thinking of the long-term effects of repression on the nervous system and on the body and on the brain and what it does to people. I mean, it makes people murder other people. Do you know? I mean, like
Yeah.
literally.
Yeah.
And what it just think if everybody could actually just live the life that they want and be who they've always wanted to be, how much happier this entire world would be.
Yeah, like people are tied down to this idea of normal or like this is the way that it should be, but that's just been directed to us to control us. And if you take the time to step outside of it and feel like who you actually are and the joy of it, and maybe you are a heterosexual cis person, and that's great, but you can be an open-minded and liberated person. Like people don't have to have children if they get married.
Hmm.
People don't have to get married. People don't need to be in a monogamous relationship if they don't want to be in a monogamous relationship. But the directive from the beginning is always you're going to do these things. So people just assume that's what I have to do.
Yeah, I mean, as a child-free type of person, I mean, I certainly I relate to it on that level. The it can be in, luckily I don't feel that way within our squad, in our
Yeah.
group of friends. I don't feel isolated, but I have definitely seen it out there, in the world, the isolation of, for example, becoming a mom and then only hanging out with other moms, losing track or sight of like other friends who do not have children, and then also from my perspective as a child-free person, not experiencing the kind of community that comes with those life altering experiences, and I don't feel like I need them per se, but I certainly sometimes feel othered by not being a mother because of the culture, if that makes any sense.
Exactly. It
Yeah.
totally makes sense. And the other thing is people buy in, oh, it's going to be so fulfilling to have a child. It's going to be like you're supposed to do it. And I hear so many stories of people who are unhappy that they've actually made that choice.
Yeah.
Um, it's not that they don't love their children. It's not
No.
that they like aren't finding some sort of joy in the experience, but like they were like, I made a wrong choice.
That's some heavy shit, dude.
It is.
um
And maybe not like the whole choice, but like
yeah.
people giving up so much of their life that they didn't want to give up because of this one thing.
Yeah, or it's like you're sold a false bag of goods. Is that the right a false? Sure. Sure.
But it read right, so that's perfect.
Yeah, sure. And I would add on to that, like, especially with the economics of our country at this moment and the burden that falls primarily on women and, women becoming, the primary caregiver, full-time caregiver, doing all of the work, managing the house, et cetera, and then also taking on the burden of child rearing without any kind of financial support. There are no structures or processes in place to support people or families, and you want us to have more children and take away all of our rights. Like, okay, but what are
Yeah.
you going to give me in return?
Yeah, if we had a society where, childcare was free, if we education was free, if we had resources for mothers, if we had parent leave time,
Healthcare.
like if we had yeah, if we had healthcare, then yes, I think people might enjoy that experience a bit more and want
Yeah.
to have kids. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I that certainly played into the reason why I don't have children. I mean, I have a lot of reasons, which I'm going to be writing about soon. Of course, I don't know when this show is going to come out. I may have written by I might have written about it already at this point when you're listening to this, but
What
it's on the
is
list of
time?
things. And I'll get more into that. But yeah, all of these things. Now, with your experience as an esthetician, I feel
Hmm.
like the beauty industry is not always very inclusive, as we know, and that's more than just gender. I mean, it's so many different things, right? But what changes would you like to see in aesthetics training or practice to better support trans and non-binary people? So kind of like from the bottom up, like what would be helpful?
What would be helpful? In terms of trans and non-binary people, I think just more education at the
Mm,
beginning of like the difference of not only people's skin, but like the things, the lifestyles that could be incorporated that make the skin look or feel a certain way. Inclusion. There were no trans people in my school to become an esthetician.
mm,
I was the only male presenting person in a room full of, there were not even any lesbians in a room full of cis straight women of like 40 women and me.
yeah,
Um, no trans people. On the cosmetology side, there was much more of variety,
diversity.
but
Yeah.
yeah. But in my room, there was none. So I think even just from that foundational level of getting people out there. And it's happening, and I see it happening, but it's still a small, small number of people who are focusing in that area.
Yeah, I'd like to see more of it. One of my goals is to be more inclusive of these communities. I also recognize that people like to work with, get services from people who look like them and people who relate directly. And we need more of that. Like, and I completely understand that. It's why I go to a female gynecologist and not a male gynecologist. Like, I fucking get it, you know?
It's why all my doctors are queer. Like
Yes,
yeah, I
because they
fully
get it.
agree with you.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
And there's an understanding and like an honesty, like especially being essentially a gay person, like going to a gay doctor and talking about the things that we do as gay people, like having that easy being like, oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Here's how we're gonna fix the problem that you're having with it.
Yeah, you don't have to, like, your doctor knows what PrEP is. You don't have to explain it.
Exactly.
All right. Oh my God. Oh, just fix this world. All right. I have something very important to speak to you about, and that
Okay.
is heated rivalry, Jason.
Oh my God. Okay.
So for those of you listening, Jason was after me for a very long time to watch the show. I mean, in the 2025, like in the I don't know when in the 20, but basically as soon as it came out, you were on me to watch it, and time is the main thing. But I made it a point, and I got it done, and I was so glad I did because it was fucking awesome, and I have so many feels about it. But yeah, you start, Jason. You start first,
Well, what I love is like you and I really haven't had a conversation about
and we
your
haven't
thoughts
talked
on it
about
after. Yeah, we haven't talked about it at all.
it at all.
Um, so I was just sitting on my couch one night and someone on social media posted, "Hey, there's this gay hockey show," but it was the actual night that it premiered.
Oh yeah,
So I was on board from like the very beginning.
yeah.
Um, uh, it is now like if we talk about like me discovering my neurodivergence and whatever flavor it is, it is my current special interest. It's my current hyper focus. It's my current obsession. I have I started watching it again for the 13th time last night. I read all of the 6 books in the series in a 2 week
Did
period.
you? Oh my God,
Yeah.
good for you. Reading. Who
Um,
does that?
and
Reading.
let I don't, and I'm still trying to figure out why. Like the third or fourth episode, I turned to my husband and I was like, "Why do I like this so much? Why do I like this so much?" But it just like triggers something inside of me.
It
Um,
presses all it checks all the boxes.
it checks a lot of
It
boxes,
checks all
and
the boxes. Yeah.
let me tell you something. I did read all of the books, and it is amazing to me the emotional arc that Jacob Tierney has pulled out of those books and was able to
Mm,
see inside of what was written. The books are smut, Julia. They are smut, and I've read a lot of smut. I've read a lot of like man loving man books, a lot of gay romance and like sex scenes in books, but this was intense in a way that like almost made me feel embarrassed, and also was too much. The first book is actually, if you've watched Heated Rivalry, the first book is the story of Scott and Kip, who are the episode 3 in the Heated Rivalry
oh,
series,
interesting.
and it's
Interesting.
that episode is their full story that's all in that one book. But there was like a night where they have sex for the first time and they do it like 5 times. And each one of those is like 10 to 20 pages of talking about how they're doing it. And by the fifth one, I was like, do I need to read all of this? I was like, what? Yes, you like him. Yes, his dick is nice. I understand. Um, I was like, give me a character.
Yeah, yeah.
So they are smut, but there's a place for it. And it's really interesting to me to see how many straight women um enjoy the topic.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, first of all, Jacob Tierney, first of all, I'm a big hockey fan, so I'm a big Devils fan. We'll not talk about the Hughes brothers. We're not going to talk about the Olympics and the Hughes brothers. They
Okay.
belong,
We know.
whatever. We're not, yeah,
Yeah.
we know. It's tough, but I still love the Devils, and I will show. In any event, he's a big fan of Letterkenny, big fan of Shoresy, and Jacob Tierney was on Letterkenny, and I had read at some point, they were like, they had said, Shorzy walked so that Heated Rivalry could run. Do you know what I mean?
Mm,
And I definitely feel that way because Jacob Tierney definitely took something away from working in that like that community. It's this group of actors, they're all Canadian. They all have open minds. So all of everything is so good and so inclusive. And the writing is wonderful. And he definitely had these wonderful takeaways that he brought into Heated Rivalry that I could tell just everything from the music that he uses, the way it's
yes.
cut and it's edited, and the way that it's shot. I didn't take a deep dive to see if he used like the same, cinematographer or like anything like that. But for me, it is kind of like Bridgerton, like meets hockey, is like emotional, like catharsis. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? That I didn't know that I
totally.
needed, that I didn't know that
Exactly.
I needed. So there's like there's all the horny stuff, which I appreciate and like fine. But I'm also at a certain age where I am getting a little, I don't know, a little weird with all of the sex. And I'm like, I don't need to see all of this sex. Even with Bridgerton, I was like, I get it. Like you're reading the book. I'm like, I get it.
Exactly.
We know it's good. I actually want to know more now about the story. Where is this going? Because it was just like, it was literal, years of them like hooking up over years. But what I loved about it, this was so close to an experience or a relationship that I could have had in that exact situation. I've had the same text message conversations.
Yes.
I have had the send and wait. And did I say the right thing? Like it's all the same and it just normalizes all of it. And then we're all hoping, that they're gonna like have the go to the cottage moment, and then it happens and you're just like, like I mean, it was just so
I
satisfying.
I watched especially episode 5. That was the one where like I watched it like it was a sports game. Like I literally jumped off my couch twice.
Mm-hmm.
I was yelling at the screen. Um, so yeah, it was that kind of like a payoff for us. I think a thing too, yes, the target audience for this is mostly women, and not a lot of queer women, just a lot of straight women. But for gay people, there is a detailed way of how they presented sex that was the first time that I looked at something and go, oh yeah, that's how we actually have sex.
Yes. Yeah.
Those are things that we actually do. Well, I'll say I don't know if you ever saw Fellow Travelers, but if you haven't, like that one, I was also like,
No, and that was the one you recommended. That was the first show that you had said to me where you were like, I felt like the sex in the show was represented in a very true and realistic way.
yeah,
And I don't have personal experience, but I also felt like this is how it is. Like it was very clear to me because that's how it is. Look, I'm not saying that straight sex in movies doesn't have more representation because it certainly does, like the normalizing. But even with women, are you kidding me? It's few and far between same where women are
yeah,
actually having true, like it's represented how women actually have sex. I mean, and don't even get
yes,
me started on porn. None of it's real. Like none of it makes any sense. And it's
yeah,
my husband and I joke about how we're like, oh, you just throw it in. And it's like, no, you don't just throw the penis in. Like the penis doesn't just go in. And you know what? Whether it's going into your V or your A, like you still got to do something first. You don't
yeah.
just
But
know
what it
because
is for me is it's the gay male gaze of which they
mm,
filter this through. Like I
mhm.
think I haven't even actually done the research, but I assume Jacob Tierney is queer.
He is.
Um,
I mean, well,
okay.
I shouldn't say that, but he plays a gay man on Letterkenny. I have always assumed that he was gay.
I have always made that assumption as well, and if I'm wrong, I'm sorry, Jacob Tierney.
Apologies if we're wrong, but
Um,
I don't think we are.
but like I think his gaze on it, and then also having he's not out, but like it is just Connor is queer. I'm sorry, I'm gonna say it.
Yeah.
I think it's just one of those things where like he feels the need not to come out because kind of how I felt for a
Wait,
long time. It's like
are
this,
we talking about Connor or are we talking about Hudson?
we're talking about Connor.
Which
So
one's which then? Am I confusing them?
Connor is Ilya. Connor's
Is
the Russian.
Ilya?
Yeah.
Uh, okay, I'm totally confused. Okay,
What are you
because
confused
I
by?
thought, wow, breaking news. I thought See,
Uh-huh.
I thought that Hudson Williams, there was controversy because he has a girlfriend,
There
and
is.
I'm just like, who fucking cares? A, it's nobody's business. B, doesn't mean he doesn't fuck dudes or whatever, because you can be
Totally.
both. And like again, what fucking era are we living in? The those that know,
Exactly.
we know. Like, come on.
Yeah.
I thought Connor was queer. I'm very confused. Say more.
I think Connor is queer. I mean, that's my thought, but he has never come out and said it.
Oh, I see.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, so he's not been like he didn't feel the need to be like I am a gay male actor, and which I'm fine with. Like to
Same.
me, it's pretty obvious, and like because I live in Los Angeles and I'm in the gay community, I've heard stories. So like I know things that maybe regular people wouldn't know, but having that perspective in the room, and also Francois Arnaud, he is bisexual, so like having people who are portraying the characters as who they are, there is a specificity about it that you wouldn't get
Mm,
from just a straight male actor playing that.
agreed. And I would also add that it is we are still living in a time where who you are in the real world could affect the casting of who you are in life. And these are working actors who want to continue to work. And I'm sure that they don't want to just be cast in queer or gay roles or whatever that's going to look like. And they should have an opportunity to play a straight cis dude if that is something that they want to do, because it is called acting. And some people
And
can't get past that.
yeah, which sucks, but also it's called acting, but they're both really good actors.
They're really good.
They're really good. So yes,
Really
let
good.
them do whatever they want to do. That was the other thing I loved about the show is coming from the perspective of someone who is an actor at heart, watching their performances, like,
So
and
good.
now have watching it like 13 times, like
13 times.
seeing the subtle things that happen. Like my favorite shots in the show are without dialogue when things are happening and they're just processing it. Watching those things is so satisfying.
Yeah, I mean, everybody in the show is so good. Stellar acting from everybody and so believable. Like I bought in. I just completely
Yep.
bought in. I had no doubt that these two people were not completely and utterly in love with each other. And if I were a mom, I would immediately be so upset that I wasn't told sooner and that it was my fault that I didn't create a space that was welcoming for my child. Like it was just so perfectly.
Yeah, that conversation between Shane and his mom is beautiful and is a different take. The fact that she apologizes to him, um, it's gonna make me cry.
No, so great, Jason.
I won't. I
Just,
won't.
I won't.
The fact that she does it is like a take that we haven't seen,
Mm,
and if you're looking at it from both perspectives, as I did, it wasn't that Shane didn't feel comfortable telling his mom; it's that he wanted to be something else so badly.
yeah.
It took him all of that time to get to there to realize that he wasn't that person.
And that he didn't
Um,
have to be that. And it's
exactly.
just it's an idea that he thought something he thought he had to be that his mom didn't even know that she was projecting. And I think that's where that guilt comes in. So I definitely I
Yes.
could just relate to that so deeply. And then I could also deeply relate to just completely turning the corner to where we're eating spaghetti and we're drinking wine and we're laughing. And I'm like, okay, I got my phone. This is what we're gonna do. And it's gonna come out like this. And
Yes.
you know what? I am gonna call Nokia or like a Rolex, because
Yeah.
Rolex is gonna really buy in. No, they're gonna think this is great. And then like my kid just being like, whoa,
Hold it
slow
up.
down.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So good. And I want more of that
And
type
we
of
and we
drama.
needed more joy in our life right now, and it
Yeah.
just brought so many people joy. So that is great too.
Yeah, and I would add to a community that is already struggling culturally in this country. I think this was exactly like what we needed to lift everybody up and make us all feel a little less shitty about
I agree.
the world. Yeah.
Huzzah to Rachel, huzzah to Jacob, huzzah to all the boys.
Huzzah to all the boys. Jason, we could talk all night. We have to end
I
this
know.
soon. So
Okay.
this is the part of the show where you are going to tell me some kind of spooky story. So it can be literally, like a literal haunting, a jump scare, a ghost, or it can be kismet. It can be, a really interesting moment of intuition. You got the homework. I know you did the assignment. Let me have it.
Yes. So when I was 16, I had just gotten my license. I lived in Fort Lauderdale, and Disney World in Orlando was just a mere 3.5 hours away. And I got my license, and I talked my parents into letting me take the car with some friends to go to Disney World for the day. Um, and I had never been on like a road trip like that before. So there were four of us, two of my best girlfriends, one of their boyfriends. And before we set out on the road, we stopped at a Dunkin' Donuts and we were getting donuts. And there was this young couple in their 20s who were like standing there and just chatting with us. Like, oh, what are you guys doing? It's early. You guys are here. What's going on? And they seemed really cool. And we had that conversation. And then the four of us got in the car and we started on our journey. And about halfway there, we were headed north on the Florida Turnpike. About halfway there, I lost control of the car. I flipped my car 3 times on the interstate and ended up in the southbound lane. My friend broke her femur bone. It was trauma, right?
Traumatic. Yeah.
Traumatic. And I just remember like coming to and getting out of the car, and the first two people to help us on the scene were the same two people that were at the Dunkin' Donuts, which when you think about it, we were both heading north. So somehow they got ahead of us heading north, and then we're going
Turned
south.
around. Like, what?
And then they came upon our accidents. And so my girlfriends and I just started calling them our angel. Like they
Yeah.
were our, because they couldn't provide like medical help, but they were definitely trying to calm us down in the situation. And the fact that they were there at that moment was just, that can't be coincidence. It just can't be like going in an opposite direction. It
It
can't
doesn't
be
make any sense
at all.
at all. That's crazy. A, it's a crazy story. B, this is the first time I've ever heard it. And I've talked to you a lot and we've known each other a long time. And I had no idea this is something that happened to you. And I'm so glad that you're alive.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
And there
terrifying.
was a lot. I probably didn't talk about it a lot because it was heavily traumatic and I was the one who
Yeah.
was driving. I was the one who lost control of the car. So there was a lot of shame around that. So yeah, I probably it was probably not something that I was just like, hey, let's
Hey,
work
let's
through my
talk about this
trauma.
awful event in my life. Yeah.
Yeah, at 19. That was definitely not what I was doing. But yeah, it was a big event and that sticks with me to this day that like there are angels who are walking in the world and maybe we are one of them. Like
Maybe.
maybe at some point we are placed at a place where we can help someone in a way that like seems magical or miraculous to them.
Hmm.
Living in the space where like we can look at our other human beings and see what we can do to help them.
Agreed. But don't flip your car. Let's try not to do
Don't,
that.
yeah,
Don't flip
try
your car.
not to do
Try
that.
not to
That
flip
was
that. Look, coming from
insane.
someone, as you know, who's been in like 10 car accidents, but subject for another show or whatever. I now
Yeah.
know that it was because of my ADHD. A lot of my
As,
issues.
as soon as you told me that you had been diagnosed with ADHD, one of the first things I thought about was how many car accidents you had gotten in.
Thank you. Yes, right. And we again, this is like so separate, but you and I have talked about this. The where when you get that formal diagnosis and you look back through your life and things start to make sense and connect, and I, like, much like you're talking about, I've been so ashamed of those experiences and what was wrong with me and why I couldn't just like drive my car, like
Yeah.
now I know why. And as an adult, the way that I drive now and the way that I proceed in like a motor vehicle is very different from when I was younger, and I have to do it purposefully so that I can be safe. And
Yeah.
I've learned a lot since then. All right, Jason, let's wrap this up. Here's what we're
Let's
going
do
to do.
it. Okay.
This is the bibliomancy part of the show where
Okay.
I have two books, and much like a tarot deck, I am going to pick a page from this book, and it is going to inform whatever you question, answer to whatever question you have in your brain. We have to pick a book first. So I've got my Floriography, which is a book of flowers,
Mhm.
and my Ornithography, which is a book of birds. So basically the choices are flowers or birds. You choose.
I'm gonna choose flowers.
Okay, we're gonna do
And
flowers.
can I make a request? Because as soon as you said you were gonna pick a page number popped in my head.
Yes, I
So
will
could you
choose.
go to that page?
I will.
Page page 72.
Okay. All right. I'm fully on board with this. As you know, you've known me a long time. You know. That and I were deeply connected, and I have a feeling I probably would have chosen it
Or
even
gotten
like if
close
I just
to,
stuck
yeah.
my finger in it. All right, let's see. 72. Okay. I am going to preface this with, and I say this every time, that I am bad at pronouncing things. And whenever I am reading the name of a flower or a bird, it will be wrong. And everyone just like roll with it. But I think I'm going to get this right. A gladiolus,
Mm-hmm.
gladiolus. And the meaning of the gladiolus is you pierce my heart.
Aw.
In the Latin, gladius translates to sword, hence the common nickname sword lily for this flower. Both the name and meaning of this large and imposing plant derive from the sword-like shape of its leaves. And then it gives a recommendation of like what other flowers you should pair it with, which is a yarrow to heal a broken heart. An anemone, does that sound familiar?
Anemone,
Anemone,
I think. Yeah.
anemone. That sounds right,
Yeah.
anemone. And daffodil for unrequited love,
Hmm.
and hemlock and marigold for a friend in grief. That is just lovely.
That is lovely.
Now,
I
tell me
kind
your
of am.
question.
Oh, I have a question.
Yes,
I didn't ask a question. I didn't know I had to ask a question. I got really ahead of you.
you did. Oh my God. Jason, the way that this works is you're supposed to hold a question in your mind, and then this is supposed to inform
Okay,
whatever.
let's do it again. Let's do it again. Because I didn't have any question. As soon as you said I'm going to pick a page, like 72 just kept coming in my head. So that's all I thought about.
I don't know. I think we're
Um,
going to keep this in. We're not going to cut that out.
no, I
Let's
think you
roll with
should keep it
this.
in.
Yeah. What do we think? Well, here we go. Like, tell me what this means to you in this moment. We can do that.
Well, I kind of intimated about it earlier, but a lot of the things that I was directing my attention to were things to deal with like relationship and love with
Mm,
other people.
okay.
Um, Not even love, but like feelings and crushes.
Yeah.
So I think what did it say? A sword through the heart? Like that
Mm-hmm.
is very much like what I was feeling prior to this brand new life revelation that I had.
I like this for you.
Yeah. I
Jason,
also have a
yes.
tattoo of a heart with a arrow through it on my arm, so
Oh.
that's interesting. And I have a bunch of flowers on my chest. So
Jason has a lot of new tattoos, people that I have not seen yet in person. I have only seen a few that, well, I've seen, doesn't matter. I've seen them in different states of finish, but I will see you in May and I will
yes,
see them in their full glory. And I'm very, very excited because adults need stickers. And this is the
truly.
path that Jason and I are on, are collecting stickers for our bodies. Um, this was amazing.
It was. I love it.
Thank you so much for being here. So if people want to find you or schedule an appointment with you, how would they do any of these things?
The best way to find me, there's two. If you want to just follow who I am and see the things I'm doing, that's at the Jason Moyer, Moyer, on actually any social media, but I only really use Instagram. Um, and then if you want to book with me and you're in Los Angeles, go to Jason Moyer Skincare on Instagram, and there's a button for you to book with me.
Super. I will put all these things in the show notes. So don't feel like you have to remember all of that, listeners. I will put it in the show notes. All right, Jason,
All right.
I love you so much. This was great. I'm
I
so
love you
glad you did
too.
this. All
Thank
right.
you for having me.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Agecraft After Dark is written, produced, and edited by me, Julia Granacchi. Theme music Bernard Burnett by Ivy Virus. Have a question or a spooky story? I want to hear it. Leave me a message at speakpipe.com/agecraft, and you might just hear yourself on the show. For more Agecraft content, join me on Substack at agecraft.substack.com. If you'd like to work with me and learn more about all of the things, head to juliagwellness.com. Thanks for listening. Remember, visibility is activism. And until next time, stay curious, stay a little haunted, and I'll see you in the dark.